right.
No.
Hello, welcome after all.
No.
All that
You
was
can't
said.
start
If
on that.
only-
You can't start on that.
If only the audience could hear what happened before this episode started.
Don't make me say it again.
We learned
Yeah,
a
Tim will
lot
do it.
about what happens when you do certain activities.
Why?
Wait, what does that mean?
Maybe what does that mean? We were just talking about this.
What does that mean? Please elaborate.
Nope. We started recording.
We were recording the entire time.
Yeah, but are you going to release it?
No, of course not.
Well, I'm talking to the audience when they hear the recording, Matt.
Yeah.
The people who watched our episodes for 2 hours.
Actually, yeah, like a massive retention. Excuse me. Great. So whoever listened to last week's episode, which was a long one, for literally the entire time, because our retention rate is like pretty well the whole damn episode. We thank you.
Man, you guys put in like 4 stories? Is that right?
That's right.
That's crazy.
Well, when I do it, I put in stories like that. I don't necessarily like the story itself. I'll like pick paragraphs that I think we should talk about.
I see. Okay. Anyway, I didn't introduce people. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Matt Lawrence is here.
I am.
Tim Spence also here.
Allegedly. But for how long?
But only sometimes.
He'll just
And
pop
only if you
out in
qualify.
the middle of the podcast.
Yep, I'm gone. See you.
See you.
You're
So Matt, why don't you start us off with your video game fun fact that you prepared for us?
Oh my god, I'm not
Yeah,
prepared.
Matt.
No, I am prepared. I'm ready. I'm always ready. That's a lie, but hang on, let me sip this bubbly.
Not ready.
I gotta have a bubbly. I'm about to do my freaking Bethesda game engine fun fact.
Okay. Go for it.
So I wanted to cover this topic, I suppose, because a lot of people think that and including myself, I thought that the creation engine was always Bethesda's thing, and they've been using it forever. They've been using it all the way back to Daggerfall and Arena, and I think I've even said that on the show, and I was incorrect. And this what basically happened was I decided to do a bit of digging into how the creation engine was changed into a multiplayer engine for Fallout 76, which we will touch on. But then I found out, like, hang on, it keeps saying that the creation engine was only Skyrim, and I was confused. And so I have the answers for today. So
the video game fun fact check.
that's right. That's 100% right. Hopefully the information is 100% right. And
Yeah, I was
it's
going to say,
correctly.
speaking of 100% correct.
It's some chat GPT, so we'll see if it actually is correct.
No, I use Copilot, but I do go into the sources and read stuff, and I don't just go like, yo, give me a fun fact, and it pumps it out. Like, I spend a bit of time doing this.
Matt lives in a world of alternative facts.
Oh, no.
God. All right. Before we get into alternative facts, apparently, let's get into this fun fact. So Bethesda's game engine. Contrary to popular belief, the creation engine is not what Bethesda used for all its games since Elder Scrolls Arena, which is the first Elder Scrolls for anyone who doesn't know that. Elder Scrolls Arena used a custom engine that was actually developed by Bethesda Softworks. It incorporated ray casting techniques, which was a popular method of making 3D games back then. Ray casting was a popular method for rendering 3D environments in early games, allowing for the creation of pseudo 3D graphics by casting rays from the player's viewpoint to determine visible surfaces. This technique was a precursor to the more advanced 3D rendering methods used in later games, like the Elder Scrolls Daggerfall, which is the second Elder Scrolls game. And we'll move on to that one now. So this one still wasn't the creation engine. Elder Scrolls Daggerfall utilized the X engine, which is spelled Xngine. So I'm just going to call it the X engine. And this was one of the first truly 3D engines. So they were going to try and use something similar to what Arena had with 2.5D, which is effectively what it's called now. But they decided, no, we're going to actually go and they're going to actually make their own engine. So the X engine was created by Bethesda Softworks. And like I said, one of the first truly 3D engines. And it provided advanced graphical capabilities, including texture mapping, dynamic lighting, and of course the 3D that I already mentioned. And the engine's modular design allowed Bethesda to implement various gameplay systems, such as the character creation system and complex quest mechanics. Now we move on to Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, and they were not using their own engine this time. So they were using the Gamebryo engine, which was known previously as NetImmerse until 2003 when it changed to Gamebryo. This is a versatile, or was, I suppose, a versatile and widely used game engine, and it was created by the GameBase Co. Limited Company and GameBase USA. The engine is known for its modular design, so similar to the X engine, of course, we already mentioned that, which includes a suite of C++ libraries that developers can extend and customize. And this flexibility allows for rapid prototyping and iterative development. Now, the latest version of Gamebryo was 4.0, and it was released in 2012. And Gamebryo was actually used on quite a lot of Bethesda titles, including Morrowind, as I've already mentioned, but also Oblivion, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas. Now, other notable titles, it isn't just Bethesda supporting this game engine. Other notable titles include Sid Meier's Civ 4 and Bully Scholarship Edition. Yeah. So this thing was used quite a bit until its, sort of end of life, I suppose, in 2012.
Bully, that's friggin' Rockstar.
That's right. Yeah. So like this thing, there was other games on the list too, and I looked like Epic Mickey, and there was a couple others in there too.
Oh, there you go.
So like big games were created using this thing. Now this is where things start getting, the creation engine, whatever. The reason why people say they've been using it since Morrowind is because they kind of have been. So the creation engine was developed by Bethesda Game Studios and was first used in Skyrim, meaning the 2011 release, the original release. The creation engine is based on the Gamebryo engine. So Bethesda forked, which is a programming term, they forked the Gamebryo engine when its capabilities were deemed outdated. While the creation engine retains some of the basic framework and architectural elements of Gamebryo, it includes numerous improvements and customizations made by Bethesda. These enhancements include things like better graphics, improved draw distances, more advanced lighting, and shadow systems, and of course more, such as sophisticated AI and quest systems. So that's the creation engine, basically, in a nutshell. It kind of was in use since 2003, I think, or something like that, or 2002, maybe, whatever, when Morrowind came out. Yeah, when Morrowind came out, 2002. So Bethesda has been using, quote unquote, you could kind of say a spiritual successor, or you could even say an updated version of Gamebryo, because they forked it, meaning they kind of like took it aside and then started developing on it themselves once they, determined, hey, this thing is a little out of date. Now comes the original sort of idea behind this video game fun fact, which is how do we make this thing multiplayer?
Oh, God.
So for Fallout 76, Bethesda Game Studios Austin, which was formerly Battlecry Studios, they were tasked with the making of the creation engine, or rather making the creation engine multiplayer. And I have a quote here from Wikipedia. This was considered a challenge by experts in the online game industry. A primary issue facing the developers was that components of the core engine, dating back to Gamebryo used in Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, such as quests or world loading, were designed centering on a single player. This single player was dubbed Atlas by the developers for its role in holding up the fabric of the loaded game, a paradigm that would need to fundamentally change to allow multiple players spanning multiple worlds. So if you can kind of think of this way, you, the player, or Atlas, are running around. When you run into, let's say, Megaton in Fallout 3, Megaton loads, but Rivet City does not load. The Capital Wasteland is not loaded. The interiors are even not loaded. Now, maybe there's some preloading and things like that, but the point I'm trying to make here is that everything is based on one player. When Atlas does this happens, and checks can be done this way too. So things like, okay, when Atlas loads into Megaton, let's just say there was a quest at some point to make everything in Megaton pink. Well, the game can check that. Did Atlas do this quest successfully? Yes, make Megaton pink. So how does this work in multiplayer? And you could kind of already see the sort of like complicated web and chaos that this would obviously entail. And just in terms of network infrastructure alone, like this engine had to be adapted to support server-based gameplay, which includes, of course, hosting, multiple players, etc. And it also had to be adapted to support more dynamic and non-static objects, which are crucial for multiplayer environments. So this is a mess, right? Like you can't have one player or the host of, say, a Fallout 76 game, if that's how it worked, and you were all peer-to-peer and you all joined somebody, you can't all be following the one person. Yeah. But there's modern games that do this. So something like a Far Cry game, you can't get too far away from the host. or you can't get too far away
Right.
from each other as players, because the game will actually only load a certain amount of area, and then it will, whiplash you back or teleport you back or whatever. And there's multiple games that actually do this. But in something like a Fallout 76, you can't have that. Like if I'm supposed to spawn in 76 inside of the vault, and then someone is way the heck down in the Cranberry Bog, which is, really far south, actually southeast. So really, really far down there. It's unfair for me to load into 76 and be teleported to the person in the Cranberry Bog, or vice versa. So this is, a huge undertaking, but they did it. And I mean, with critically harsh results in the beginning, but the game has since improved, and now we have Fallout 76 being pretty successful. And that's it. That's the game and fun fact.
Did they have the ESO guys trying to help them?
I think they
I
are
know
still involved in the project, right?
I think so. Like the ESO guys help them do something too, like some quests or something like that. I can't remember now, but
Man, I can't even imagine what it's like working on that thing. Is it just a whole other kind of beast actually developing the tools that develop the game?
oh, most likely. Like, well, the one thing I noticed is in what do you call it? In the E3 Coliseum, one of the guys that was involved in making this engine multiplayer, he mentioned it. Like he was mentioning Atlas and all these things, and he mentioned what I thought he said was a Daggerfall fix. Maybe he said Morrowind. I always thought that he mentioned a Daggerfall fix, but I remember him mentioning that he went into the code base basically, and he found this like super old random function or random bit of the code, and was sort of like, what the heck is this? And it ended up being a specific fix for one of the very, very, very old games. And so not only are you contending with, Gamebryo Plus, let's just call it that, Gamebryo Plus, which is creation, not only are you dealing with that and the core mechanics of that, but you're also dealing with the fact that this thing has been used for years. It's been updated, by Gamebryo proper, or by Gamebase, I suppose, proper. And then it's then been forked and then updated forever by Bethesda and been used in-house for what? We're looking Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. So 4 major releases. So this thing is going to be riddled with like fixes and changes and manipulations. It's going to be chaos.
It's one of those things where it's like it's a miracle video games work.
Yeah.
Or
We're all
such a
just-
house of cards. It's
House
crazy.
of Cards, yeah.
Pretty nuts. Like I'm surprised. Well, I guess I'm not surprised that people, because like it would be iterative, right? Like going from, making Snake or making like Tetris would not be, as like the engines wouldn't be that difficult. And then somebody would, iterate and then iterate and then iterate. Like iteration leads you down these roads. And it can also give you technical debt, is what it's called, when there's a bunch of like tech that's like giving you debt.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a whole bunch of technical debt. So like iterating is great. And, upgrading is great, but that's why people always criticize Bethesda these days, because they go, oh, we made Creation 2, it's going to be great. But then why does the Wendigo Man glitch still appear? And like, why are there these issues that are like present in all the games? And it's because, well, sure, they spent the most time they've ever spent updating the engine, but somebody missed this random bit of code that no one knew what they did. No one knew what it did. And they just left it, and it could have caused a bug. And that's an example of technical debt.
One of my worries, though, is that a lot of people criticize, some of these other engines. EA had problems with their Frostbite engine, and I think finally gave up on it, right? I think they just abandoned it. My concern is that if everyone's just going to be on Unreal Engine, I just don't like the idea of that, just not having a major competitor to Unreal. And then the sameness you kind of get when using the same engine. All games will start to kind of look similar or feel similar or have similar, assets and the way things work. And I don't want that to happen where we're just it lessens the room for creativity,
There is like hope in that way, though, because Ubisoft has Dunia, which Dunia, I believe, is their older engine. And then their newer one is Snowdrop, which is the one that runs runs The Division and those type of things. It also runs
Avatar?
X-Defiant. It also runs what, sorry?
Does it run Avatar?
I want to say, yeah.
Avatar is pretty gorgeous.
Well, Dunia has that very old school Far Cry feeling. Like that's a Dunia game. The sort of like, I don't know, I'd call it like almost conservatively styled game. I don't mind the look of it, but it definitely feels like there's something holding a bit back. Not a game developer, but I would estimate it's Dunia that's doing that. Meanwhile, The Division, like hell, The Division 2, which came out a number of years ago, even The Division 1, especially on PC, those games are great.
Yeah.
And that's Snowdrop.
Yeah. Avatar is Snowdrop.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. So like, you know, it sounds like they're more or less moving to Snowdrop.
And then same as Star Wars Outlaws, because that's obviously made by Massive as well. So yeah, that's a good looking engine. I don't know how the performance is though. Any issues with Avatar?
I don't have any. I friggin' cranked it too. I even
have
did
a
things
pretty-
that told me not to.
You have a pretty beefy modern PC too.
Yes, that's true. But like, I mean, the one thing I will say too is Unity is still big. I know they've had their community problems and whatever, like kind of semi recently, but like Unity is still really, really big and is a big part of indie studios.
I just worry that if Bethesda keeps getting criticized, you know, for their engine, that they will eventually switch. But maybe there's some value in having their own engine that we will miss if they switch to Unreal.
Well, they must, like, well, they definitely have people that try their engines. Like we have Doom. Like Doom is not in creation, right? Like Doom or the creation engine is a BGS, like a Bethesda Game Studios thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like Bethesda proper, ZeniMax proper, whatever you want to say, like the umbrella that is Bethesda, it has a lot of other companies in it, like id. And I believe the Doom engine is its own thing. I'm not
probably
certain on that, but like there's going to be other people in that company where if they're like, yo, let's tap the shoulder of the guy who like runs the engine of Doom, you know, they can do that. They could have that and have a meeting about it. And they're all, you know, effectively the same company.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Matt. Let's move on to the news of the week. Starting off with Microsoft hiking the price of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and launching a new standard tier. This comes from The Verge. So yeah, they're hiking the price up a bit. It will happen in September alongside launching a new standard subscription model that doesn't include day one access to first-party Xbox games. So obviously that's one of the big selling points of Game Pass is you get all their first-party titles when they launch on Game Pass. The Xbox maker has started emailing Xbox Pass Ultimate subscribers warning of a price increase to $19.99 a month that starts on September 12th, a $3 increase over the current $16.99 a month pricing. PC Game Pass subscribers will also see a price hike in September, with the service moving from $9.99 to $11.99 per month and maintaining access to day one titles. So overall, how do you guys feel about the price increase? I have the Canadian numbers here as well. I don't know what you guys have. Matt, you have Ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Tim, what do you have?
Yeah.
I guess you have no need for Ultimate, right?
Can you stream, Tim? Like, could you cloud game?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know that I got it when I was trying to get the thing to work for the Steam Deck. But I can't remember if I downgraded. I'm pretty sure I still have Ultimate.
So Canadian prices currently it is $18.99 and it's going up to $22.99. And Game Pass Core for 12 months. This is not monthly. So this is the 12-month number. $69.99 is the current price, and it's now going up to $87.99.
Whoa.
So what's your guys' views on the price increase here?
I mean, it's inevitable always, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still good value at that point, to be honest.
The question is, at what point is it no longer worth the value?
When I can't justify it anymore, I guess. It's just like, that's too much to spend in a
price
lump.
up there.
Yeah. Like if it was like $150, I guess at that point, like I would go to a lower tier though. Like if I'm not getting the value that Ultimate adds, then I'll just go back to like the base thing, you know?
Yeah. Matt, what about you?
I don't mind the price increase. Like I think it's inevitable, just like Tim said. One of my problems is I don't like how there's now discrepancy between whether or not you get the day one titles. Because now there's going to be people like, I bought this and I don't understand what's going on. And I understand that it's simple enough, but people don't pay attention. Let's be serious. And so like it's going to be chaos, right? Like it's going to be people are not going to know what's happening. And it's going to be like, hey, what's happening here? Like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And like, yeah, like it's going to be a problem.
Just to kind of make it more clear, Tom Warren from The Verge, he listed this out on Threads. So Xbox Game Pass Core is $9.99, no day one games. PC Game Pass is $11.99, day one games, like you're getting them on launch day. Xbox Game Pass for console, existing subscribers, $10.99 and gets day one games. Xbox Game Pass Standard, which is the new version, I guess, or the new tier they just announced, $14.99, no day one games.
And they're getting rid of the console tier, right?
Yeah.
Unless like for new people, which is going to cause which is going to cause confusion and for good reason. Like it doesn't make any to me it doesn't make any sense. Like
I'm already confused.
Yeah, like if you have a console, Like if you only play on the Xbox, which is not special, like a lot of people do that, right? It's not 1% of people.
Yeah, you're not special if you do that. You hear me?
Well, like, you know what I mean? Like statistically speaking,
Not uncommon.
It's not uncommon. It's like those people are going to be confused now. Like, do I get core? Like, do I not? Before it was just like console. That's it.
It's a little messy now, isn't it?
That's what happens when you have a million services you offer, and then you're changing the tiers, and then you're changing what services are on what tier, and then you add new tiers, and you remove services from some tiers, and
I guess the problem is that when you have existing subscribers, they don't really want to piss you off, right? They want to like kind of ease you out of it into the new one. So they're not going to just kind of cut it off and be like, "Oh, you were paying, for the console Xbox Game Pass, no more day one games." Right? That would be outrageous, right?
yeah.
And so they're going to keep that going as long as you have your subscription, I guess. But then new subscribers to the service will only have standard available to them, and then no day one games at a higher price.
Yeah, but someone's going to let that lapse accidentally. They're
Yeah,
going
I
to
know.
resubscribe,
There's
and then
gonna
it's going to be
problems for sure.
like it's like to me, it's just sort of like why have this problem? Like why introduce this problem?
Because I don't think the current model is working for them.
So I have a question then. So like, what is the standard? Like the standard is no day one games.
Yeah,
What else does it include?
I think it's just access to the other games on Game Pass.
But is there Xbox Cloud? Is it console only? Is it PC? Is it both? Because before it was very like, do you want PC and only PC? Okay, get the PC one. Do you want console and only the console? Get the console one. Do you want everything including streaming? You get Ultimate. Pretty simple.
Oh, this is a question too. How long until new games get added to Game Pass standard?
Yeah, that's another question too.
And will third-party games ever be day one standard?
See, like this is stupid. Like I don't think they should do this. Like that they're gonna have fucking 18 damn tiers. Like
But with third party, that's always been a case by case basis. Power World did not have to launch day one on Game Pass. They must have chosen to do that, right? But they equally could have like waited like 6 months and then came to Game Pass. I think that's up to the publishers of the third party titles and their deal with Xbox. So this is the other interesting part too. The price increase comes just before Microsoft plans to add Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Indiana Jones to Game Pass later this year. The price increases will largely affect Ultimate subscribers who make up the vast majority of Game Pass subscribers and come just a year after the last Game Pass price hikes raised by $1 to $2 per month. Oh, so just a year, and they've already gone up another $3. That's interesting too.
I mean, what I almost want to say is like, this might sound crazy, but they maybe should have changed it so that Ultimate's the only one that gets day one games. And then existing subscribers still get them. But if you let it lapse, you cancel it and then you come back, you're effectively new subscriber and literally new subscribers. You get a Netflix collection of games, but if you want the best ones, you have to buy Ultimate. Like if you want the latest ones, you buy Ultimate. That doesn't sound like that's not very confusing.
What's interesting is this almost sounds like they're punishing console only players.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like that's what I mean.
Or,
like
not
how
that
many
they're punishing them, but they want their console players to purchase the games rather than go Game Pass.
Which is crazy, right?
When they've gone this long with Game Pass, it's crazy, yes, but it's like maybe they shouldn't have done this in the first place. That's my thoughts on this.
Well, especially here's another shot in the foot is that aren't they having trouble getting people to play their consoles?
Yeah, well, to buy their consoles, yeah.
Well, I mean, now you could argue there's even less reason.
It is a little strange, isn't it?
Like it's like for Christ's sake.
Maybe that's intentional though, because they're planning on getting out of the hardware space.
Yeah,
although they're making another like gen console though, aren't they?
Well, I feel like the hardware is less important to them now. They've now just become a services company, and their service is Game Pass and games and Xbox Live, right? And
Xbox Live is gone, isn't it? Yes.
In name, yes, but you still need Game Pass
core
to play online.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
This is getting messy. Very messy.
Yeah, alongside the Ultimate and PC Game Pass price hikes, Microsoft will also offer a new option of Xbox Game Pass standard subscription without day one titles. That will be priced at $14.99 per month for new users to the service. The existing Xbox Game Pass for console subscription will continue for existing subscribers, but the new Game Pass subscribers won't be able to select the console option starting July 10th until the new Game Pass standard subscription is available. Microsoft says Xbox Game Pass Standard will be available in the coming months. The new standard option also includes online console multiplayer access, which is something that Xbox Game Pass for console lacked previously. Existing Game Pass for console subscribers will only be able to stack for up to 13 months from September 18th, but this won't impact existing stacks. So they're even cutting down on that because I know a lot of people would do that, stack up their subscriptions if they get like a good deal or something.
Mm-hmm. That sucks. I don't know. This kind of sucks. Like a price increase sucks just, because it's a price increase, but it's not really that big of a deal when something offers this much value. But I think, I don't know. I've already said it, but I don't think convoluting the tiers is smart because how many of us know what tiers or what the tier system is on PlayStation? Like it's the Wild West. Like is
it PlayStation Core? Is there a PlayStation Core?
Well, it's PlayStation. I can't even know. I don't even know. Standard maybe like PS Plus. Like I have no idea.
That was a weird. Everyone was like begging PlayStation to come out with their own competing Game Pass service. They did, and then no one talks about it. You know what I mean?
It's because the people that wanted it were then satisfied, so they didn't need to talk about it anymore.
Essential, Extra, and Premium, which all sound like premium. You know
Essential
what I mean?
Doesn't sound premium.
It's the essentials. It's everything you need.
It's not premium.
No, but they all sound like they're the highest tier.
I don't like it.
I personally think PS Plus needed a rebrand and then launch your new Game Pass competitor service. Keeping it PS Plus just made it disappear into what everyone already knew PS Plus to be.
They should have made it like their trophies. PS Plus, bronze, silver, gold, platinum.
Or that's a little more easier to understand because I don't know the order of the tiers.
Yeah, it's not clear. It's not like plus, which sounds ridiculous, but like at least it's clear.
Well, okay, so I'm guessing they're going to get rid of the Xbox Game Pass for console is going to go away, right? Once those subscriptions end, you're probably going to need to get standard only, right? So that would technically eliminate one of these confusion things.
Technically, one of the tiers is going away. Yes, like there's a grandfathered in tiered system, but
is
yes.
Core going away too?
I don't know.
Or is that the cheap Xbox Live replacement?
I thought Core was the cheap Xbox Live replacement.
Okay. God damn, that's crazy.
I want to know something. Is we actually see companies do this quite a bit. They kind of make things really convoluted and kind of hard. And one thing I noticed, and I don't know if you guys have ever purchased Hitman, like one of the newer ones.
Oh.
But I remember I went to go purchase one of the Hitman, and they have a buyer's guide. They have like a web app that took it's like if you buy this you get this, but if you buy this you get this. If you don't get this, and I kind of thought to myself, is there benefit in confusing the consumer? Like, are you like, hopefully they buy something wrong and they buy it again. But then I would also like to know the numbers of like how many people would get pissed off. Because like I know for sure, like 100% of my parents, if they get pissed off, they're gone and they are not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know how many people are like that, where like if they get pissed off at you, they're not going to come back. Like what's the ratio here? Like
it would be fun if someone was talking to one of the executives and then trying to see if they could keep all these different tiers straight and which offers what and when and how it works,
Like seriously though.
It's like, don't you sit down and look at this and be like, I don't even know what's going on, and this is the service we're offering. So many times products just feel like they didn't even try to use them themselves.
A million
It's frustrating. Maybe they should just have an Xbox One. Well, not you can't use one, I guess. I was gonna say an Xbox One service, but Xbox Game Pass should just be cover everything. I don't know.
Wait, what do you mean by Xbox Game Pass should cover everything?
If I have a Microsoft account and I get Xbox Game Pass, it should just follow me. It doesn't matter if I'm on console or PC. It should just follow me wherever I go.
That's what
I understand
there's
different consoles or different games offered on PC compared to console, but it's like the service should still be the same, but just different offerings depending on what platform you're on.
Would it be easier, and this is going to sound super weird, but would it be easier if it was an add-on? So they didn't sell you tiers, they just charged you based on where you were. So you boot up, you're like, oh, I want to play online, so you pay $5 a month, let's say. And then you go and you're like, hey, I like this Game Pass library, I'm going to access it, and you try to access it from your console, and it goes, yo, you got to pay another $5. So that's the $5. You go to your PC, and it's like, yo, you got to add another $5. And then you go to your cloud, it's like, yo, you got to add another $5.
I mean, that's kind of simpler than what they currently have. So,
but would it annoy people when they're like, yo, I'm already paying for this?
But the problem is they're trying. So you had pretty easily defined tiers, but they're trying to say you can have the Xbox Live Core Game Pass, then you can have Game Pass, but no day one games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you're getting your
That's
Game
another
Pass
little
minus.
another sliver they cut out of what they offer, right? And that's where things are getting confusing.
I
Maybe
have a
they
feeling
should have
this
color
was.
coded it
I
or
have a feeling that
something.
this was an executive that pushed
Oh, yeah.
for it. Like it was like lobbying internally, where it's like we don't want to give up the sales of Call of Duty,
Yeah,
and so they were just like, okay, fine, and this is like the compromise, like internally. I mean,
100%, 100%. Yeah, because that's too big of a game to give away. At no additional charge on Game Pass. That's a massive title that makes a ton of money from physical, not physical, but full retail sales.
hmm
So yeah, it's interesting. They probably had to think real hard about adding it on Game Pass. And I like too that announcement came out first that they were going to add it to Game Pass day one, but they must have been talking about the tiers at that point.
Well, now what's the nuance there when we have a presentation? Day one to Game Pass asterisk.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, come on, like, God.
World premiere for some people. All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see it roll out. I happily downgraded to Game Pass for PC. I no longer needed Ultimate because I just don't play on my actual console anymore. So I think I'm unaffected, right? Or am I? Just by a price hike, I guess.
I think you're just price hike.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm good. All right. Next story here. No Nintendo console has lasted as long as the Switch without being replaced. This comes to us from VGC. Since its worldwide launch on March 3rd, 2017, 2,687 days have passed without the arrival of a successor console, meaning Switch's lifespan has officially beaten Nintendo's previous longest-lasting console, the Famicom, which lasted 2,686 days. NES for the folks who don't know. Assuming the successor to the Nintendo Switch doesn't launch before March 1st, 2025, Switch could go more than 2,920 days without the launch of newer hardware.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's pretty impressive. They're really, I think the thing is it's selling, right? Why launch a new system if your current system is selling, I believe, in still pretty high numbers, right?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
They're really getting their money's worth out of that. What was it? The NVIDIA Shield, like 2013 chip, basically?
Yeah, right.
Like, holy crap.
It's a chunky console, though, because you just try to navigate like the store. It's so slow and
It's
just,
so slow, yeah.
The store sucks, yeah.
I mean, I guess the games run well enough. I don't play it too much, but just navigating it is kind of like odd. The downloads are super slow. I don't know if you noticed this, Tim, but I don't know if that's a transfer to the SD card or what.
Well, my downloads are fast.
I don't know. My Switch Lite was really slow too.
The Switch Lite, I have a question on that. Was it slow in the store specifically? Like, I wonder if the NIC is bad.
It's probably not great.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not great.
I'm curious if it's faster with when docked, right? Because you have that, at least on the OLED models, you have the Ethernet. The original model has Ethernet on the dock too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's faster. Oh,
I don't think so. No, I think you had to get an adapter. Yeah, you did Smash Bros. You had to get an adapter for
like a USB adapter.
Yep.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking then, because I do remember someone having it hooked up, but it must have been through an adapter.
Well, yeah, and the OLED then that has built-in Ethernet. Man, people are still launching fireworks. It's been like a week since freaking Canada Day and 4th of July. They're still launching their fireworks over.
Wait, like right now? Like you're saying actively,
yeah, they're going off right now.
Oh my god!
And last night they went off. People are just, geez, summertime, going crazy down here.
They
They're
just
going
bought
nuts.
a bunch and they're like, oh, I didn't use them all, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how the hell you buy a bunch anymore. They're super expensive. It's like you want to put on a little like fireworks show. It's like, well, who's got like $1,000? Because
Sold my
Only
liver.
once a year, bro. Gotta get it. Gotta do it.
I'm okay. I'll let the like cities and
Yeah.
towns do it if I care to watch. But
Yeah, I'm good. I have too many friends who have like anxious
Missing fingers?
dogs or know
Oh.
people with PTSD that they don't like fireworks. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm
Jeez.
good.
Since Nintendo's first breakout hardware, the Famicom, known as the Nintendo Entertainment System outside of Japan, the gap between hardware launches became progressively shorter until its previous best-selling console, the Wii, which arrived in 2006 and lasted almost 6 years before the Wii U launched. The Wii U, which turned out to be one of the company's biggest sales flops, then enjoyed the fewest days pre-successor, 1,566 days, as Nintendo rushed ahead with its plans for Nintendo Switch. I'm curious, though, when I heard this, that they rushed ahead with the Nintendo Switch, what would the Nintendo Switch have been if they had waited another couple years or so? Would it have been slightly more powerful? Would it be any different in any way?
I wouldn't be surprised if it followed, because the NVIDIA Shield kind of sparked like the handheld like PC market, I suppose. Well, it wasn't the PC market. It was, I know it was an Android console, but I believe it connected, didn't it? Like, wasn't it like kind of all about obviously the Android part, but like remoting from a PC, so you could like kind of like play your PC games on like the mini screen, and it kind of like sparked that. I kind of wonder whether they would have went with a newer chip, because I believe there was a couple iterations of the Shield, including sort of a set-top box, almost console version. So I wonder if they would have went with one of those instead.
Right. Yeah. But it's a long, long time. Is that the longest lasting console then, or no? Have there been longer ones?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could argue that like the Dreamcast is still going because Sega doesn't make new ones.
They're not releasing new games for it though.
No.
Just do a quick search here.
He's typing into ChatGPT.
Video game consoles with the longest lifespan are the Neo Geo, 14 years.
Hoo-wee.
Then the PlayStation 2 at 13 years. PlayStation 3 at 11 years.
I was going to say the PS3 360 era was a long time.
I remember everyone commenting on that too. There's an asterisk next to this one though, for some reason. I don't know what that means. Famicom, 10 years. 347 days, so basically 11, I guess. And then PC Engine with CD-ROM? What the hell is that?
Does that count? I don't know what that.
What is that?
I'll look up what that is.
And then after that, Super Famicom, Xbox 360, 9 years, 345 days. PlayStation 1, 9 years, 164 days. So I think these are like how long they were supported, not necessarily how long they were out, because like they had successors before that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like the PS3 came out well before 13 years had passed after the PS2.
So I have a bit of information on the PC Engine. So the PC Engine is a console, and the CD-ROM, the PC Engine CD-ROM, is an attachment for the PC Engine, making it the first video game console to use CD-ROM as a storage media. And what's weird here is, like, I'm just reading little snippets from Google. I haven't done hardcore research here, but PC Engine CD-ROMs are not region locked, and therefore will function on their TurboGrafx 16 equivalent units and vice versa. So TurboGrafx is something that would be more like we're more familiar with that name anyway.
Yep,
that's kind of wild though.
It's ridiculous.
There's so many little like consoles, you know. You think there's only ever been like 3 around at a time, but then there's all these different models. Apple had a console back in the day. Have you heard about that one?
You've told me very briefly about it. Well, there's like the idea too, right? Like that everyone was randomly making consoles and there was really no standard. Even today, I mean, how many of those like plug and play, like you take like a Darth Vader head, you put a controller, you like morph it with a controller, you like plug it into your TV and there you go, all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, good on the Switch for lasting this long. I eagerly anticipate buying the Switch successor and then never touching it again.
God damn it, Ryan.
It's gonna happen. That's what happens. All right, final story for the week.
What?
Hellblade 2 sales data offers a clearer picture of how it did on Xbox Game Pass and the charts. This is from IGN. Hellblade 2 was billed as one of 2024's big exclusives when it released back in May, but overall sales numbers have been hard to come by since launch. Now, thanks to Circana's most recent sales data, we have a clearer idea of its performance. According to Circana analyst Matt Piscatella, Hellblade 2 was 37th overall in terms of full dollar sales for May 2024, putting it at 21st in overall sales on Xbox Series consoles. Hellblade 2 did not receive a physical release. Notably, Hellblade 2 released on Xbox Game Pass at launch and was borne out in its engagement data, where it ranks 12th on Xbox in terms of monthly active users. That puts it just behind Fallout 76 on the platform, but ahead of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Apex Legends, and Forza Horizon 5. Piscatella shared the sales info on X/Twitter. Since Hellblade 2's performance meant that it didn't appear on any of the major charts, Xbox and Ninja Theory have shared little about Hellblade 2's sales since its initial release, leaving fans to speculate over Steam concurrence and other data. GameIndustry.biz publisher Chris Dring noted that it failed to crack the top 100 on European sales charts in what he described as a brutal month for game sales. This was like a rather large, at least it felt like it was a big release for Xbox, and it came out and then just kind of whimpered away. And I was talking to Matt and even Adriano, and I was like, I think this game probably would have been successful on Sony. I think there's just something about the Xbox brand that is rubbing people the wrong way with these types of games. You know, it's a narrative-driven, gorgeous-looking game that a lot of people like the first one of, you know. But then the second one, no one cared, and it's just odd.
You know what's weird about this too is that so like streaming services, and I mean movie and TV streaming services, when a movie comes out that's sort of like very mediocre, like, oh, you know, it's another slapstick comedy like from the 90s or whatever, those traditionally would not do well in theaters, but they will do well on the streaming services. And it's interesting that we effectively have a streaming service in the form of Xbox Game Pass that apparently has a whole crap load of subscribers, as Microsoft keeps telling us, but yet they didn't try this thing. Like, why is that the case here? Especially when, like you said, a lot of people like this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's weird about it is, like, I almost feel like people are going online before they're even playing a Game Pass game and like kind of getting validation. Like, should I be playing this? And it kind of sounds like you shouldn't, right? When it has bad sales and things like that. And so, and then there's like the whole argument. Like, I remember people taking pictures of Aloy's eye and Senua's eye, and they were like zooming way in on like X and threads and stuff like that. And like, God knows what the hell they were doing, comparing the sweat beads or something. Who knows? But it's like, it kind of gets to the point where it's like, okay, this game kind of seems like it's, you know, controversial or whatever. It doesn't feel good. I'm not going to play it.
Do you think that affects things enough? Just the overall online buzz or lack thereof for a game? Because we always talk about how there's like, you know, most of people aren't, you know, hardcore gamers who follow the news and talk about it like we do. But is there just enough people online doing that it does affect sales?
Well, have you ever like, you know, played something, used something, doesn't even need to be a video game, and then you go and you watch a review and the review is bad and then you start to kind of hate it?
I've done that it goes both ways for me. Like, it'll be like a game or a movie or something that I maybe didn't like very much, but then the more I learn about it, the more I like appreciate about it.
Yeah, I'd agree too. I think it definitely goes the other way for me, where I will like something more after learning other opinions, but I don't know if I fully dislike something after hearing someone else's reviews of something that I liked. I don't know if that happens too often.
There was that one time, Matt, you and I went to go see Looper with Joe, and we friggin' hated it by the time we got home because we were all talking about the movie after the fact and realizing all the stuff that didn't make sense.
It was like I have like this very vivid memory of us going to watch it and walking out just being like, that was decent. You know, it was just sort of like, you know, a decent. It
was 5.
Okay. Yeah. Like between 5 out of 10 and 7 out of 10, just an okay movie. And then we went to Montana's actually. And we were,
so
we were
specific.
because I distinctly remember this moment where we were discussing this. And then Tim, I think it was you actually. You made a very good point. Like, we were picking it apart already, and it was starting to like slowly. The score was slowly starting to drop in our heads. And then you made like a really good point where none of us could argue against it. And Joe just went real silent. He looked at me and he's like, "Fuck." and then my memory ends.
Defeated by facts and logic.
Yeah. Okay. So. Speaking of movies, I do remember one. The Last Jedi was one. I came out of the theater and was like, that was awesome. I loved that. And I mean, I do think I'm insulated from a lot of like just the toxic fandom. Like when I see toxic fandom online, I can just be like, no, I don't want to listen to that. But I think there are legitimate criticisms of that movie that have sunk into my head, and so I now don't like the movie. So I went from there was enough there I enjoyed. And I really liked the movie coming out of the theater, but over the years, I no longer like the movie, and I think it's a bad movie. Yeah,
happens though.
I remember you actually, again, Ryan, like you saying you really liked it when we walked out.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I'm not really sure what there was to like, and not to sound like a dick, but like,
well,
goddamn.
I think it was more superficial, surface level things I liked coming out of the theaters. There's the throne room scene, which was really cool visually.
Yep.
I know people like criticize the background actors fighting nothing because like realistically, an actual person can't fight 10 other guys at once. They would all just stab you at once and you die because you can't defend.
Especially if they have like long weapons too,
and they're all supposed to be masters in their art of swords and stuff. So, but the seeing it visually for the first time was awesome. The hyperspace jump through the Snoke's ship was awesome. So there was several things in there that was like, oh man, that's just cool, But then once you start breaking down and all the Luke stuff, and I got depressed. So It sucks.
It sucks when you want to like something, but there's just too many reasons why you like disagree with it or whatever, and you're just like, God, like
I mean,
wish
that's
I
life
liked.
as a Star Wars fan right now.
Oh,
It's a pretty rough time.
Yeah, for sure.
There was a glory age, I think, like mid '90s to like 5 years after the prequels finished. It was just like a golden age for Star Wars fandom. I mean, the prequels were toxic. Though a lot of people hated those movies, but have since come around.
I was gonna say it's like so many people now that grew up with those movies are adults now, and they remember the prequels with so much nostalgia.
Yeah, and they're saying it's going to happen with the sequels, but I mean, just because it happened with the prequels doesn't mean it's going to happen with the sequels. Every movie is independent and will be liked differently. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Has anyone here played Hellblade 2? Does anyone have any
I played the
feedback
first
on
one.
that?
I played the first one, loved it. I platinumed it. I remember I even showed it off to friends. I like showed it off to Marty and stuff, and I thought it was really awesome. I loved the voice, the voices of the head and stuff.
Wonder if it was one of the situations where the first one was so unique, like it was such an interesting, conceptually wise, and then because the second one was just more of the same, people didn't care as much. I mean, that is a completely like uneducated. Like I don't know about the second game. Maybe it does do unique stuff, but I haven't heard anything about it. You know.
I think you're right because I also heard this that same criticism in a review from someone, and also my own experience playing the second one. So it was like a novel idea to have schizophrenia kind of
represented,
auditorized, not visualized. what's it for audio? Visualized, but
audioalized, sure, yeah,
audioalized. So that was like a really kind of unique, cool experience the first time around, and I'm not sure if they're doing it differently the second time. Because sometimes there's just that magic when you're doing it, the first time, and you try to recreate it a second time, and you just mess it up.
You just can't.
So maybe that's happening, or I'm just not into it anymore. The voices are just kind of annoying the second time around, and they're not really giving you extra content. They're just like, oh, is she climbing? Can she climb up that rock? Is she going to make it up the rock? Oh my God, we're going to slip and fall. And you're just like, Jesus, just stop talking to me.
Quit it.
And I know they consulted actual like experts on people who hear these voices and stuff, and that's an accurate representation, I guess, of what they go through. But playing it, it's not as fun as it was in the first game.
Were they not consulted on the first game?
They were, yeah.
But was it more of like a consultation, but we're still making a game here? And then now it's like, hey, let's be more accurate.
There's always going to be exceptions and stuff like that. I just always worried, like, when like a first season of a TV show is really good, and you're like, oh, I can't wait for the second season.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean the second one's going to be good. Just because the first one was good doesn't mean the second one's going to be good.
Right.
And a lot of the times, I think the success of the first season can alter the mindset of the creators. So when they go into making the sequel, it actually ruins it. The worst thing you can do when making a sequel to anything is say, what did people like about the first one? Let's do that again, but better or bigger. And it's always the worst. There's a famous scene in X-Men Days of Future Past where Quicksilver has like a little scene where he runs around and he's the super fast guy. So, but it shows from his perspective. So time slows down for him, right? Really cool scene. Everyone loved it. I remember everyone was talking about it. They did it again in the sequel, but they made it bigger, and it was just like, oh, it's so eye rolly, So
like we get it. Yeah, we've seen this before. Yeah.
And I'll stop talking after a bit because I've been talking a while here. But
well, it's about striking that balance, right? Of like, what do people like? Like, what was good, and then what was like good because it was novel, or good because it was a surprising, or because it had like a gimmick to it, right?
Yeah.
And gimmicky stuff gets old fast, and people are always wanting something new, something fresh. Like if it's a core concept and people liked it, that's what you should do bigger, do better next time. But if it's like something that's like a spectacle, you should probably only do it once, because people will go, oh, okay, I remember this in the first one.
Yeah.
Which, like, again, some people would go, I remember this in the first one, that's a cool callback. And then other people would go like, I've already seen this is boring. So it's like, it's another situation where you can't please everybody, right? That's just going to come down to creative vision.
The best thing I heard Mike Druckmann say about The Last of Us Part 2 was when they were making it, they didn't look back at the first game and try to recreate any of that stuff. And I know the second game is controversial, but to me, they took a different path and told a different story than what they could have done. They could have had another story with Joel and Ellie running across America bonding. But that's like we already got that.
Doing it again.
Why would you want to see that again? That'd be so boring. And to me, in some ways, the second game is better, just because they didn't redo the same story over again. So, well, that might be what Hellblade is. The gameplay is the same. The cool audio, 3D audio thing they did is the same. So
the thing with games though is that like a lot of the time, games that do hold true but just get updated do okay. Like it sort of seems to be, I mean, this is just kind of off the top of my head. I don't have any numbers or anything in front of me, but it kind of seems to be like the design gets tired at the third or fourth iteration. Like we start seeing with Assassin's Creed, where it starts to iterate on itself, get bigger and make changes, make RPGs and, things like that. Like there's a reason why we don't have like the Assassin's Creed of old anymore, because, 5, 6, whatever, however many games in, it got old. And so they changed it. But
then they brought it back.
But then they brought it back. But
Mirage, yeah.
But like, well, I mean, because that's like a refresh. Like it's still refreshing,
Well, they waited long enough. It's like fashion.
Yeah.
You come up with something like bell bottoms, they go away for 10 years, and they come back in the 90s.
Yep. But the thing is like I'm surprised that potentially hit Hellblade on the second iteration when it was so eagerly anticipated. Like people seem to receive the trailers and the reveals well.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's just cool. I almost like, and again, I don't have numbers or anything. I almost just wonder if it's cool to hate on Xbox. Fuck Xbox.
That was my thought. That I think it would have been successful on a Sony platform.
There is certainly that, like it's like a meme at this point where it's like the PlayStation guys will like all scream and yell and holler when when Xbox makes when they like merge with another company, or they buy somebody out, or they buy an IP. But then if PlayStation does it, they're like, oh, great, that's so fantastic. Like now we can finally get, this is a PlayStation exclusive. And it's sort of like the same thing happened. Like a behemoth of a company, Sony, or a behemoth of a company, Microsoft, purchase another company or an IP or whatever it was. And you're mad at one and not mad at the other. And they both do the same thing. They make things exclusive.
It's almost like people have their own biases.
Well, yeah, but I just mean like clearly the bias again, like the bias right now is leaning against Xbox, or the people that are biased towards Xbox are in much lesser like numbers at this point.
Which is weird too, because most people want to root for the underdog. So Sony was the underdog in the PS3 era,
right?
But now they're bigger. So why aren't people rooting for Xbox? It seems maybe it's the Microsoft thing, being a $3 trillion company. I don't know. But that brings up the point too, that the first Hellblade was an indie title. Right? Ninja Theory went off on their own and said we want to make a AAA experience, but as an indie studio. Then Xbox buys them. That raises the expectations up a whole nother level. Right? Now you have the backing of Microsoft, and they said, here's a bunch of money, but make the game you want to make. But people didn't want to see it, I guess.
It's like, oh, you got too mainstream now, bro.
Maybe that's part of it. Yeah, maybe it's all part of it.
Sold out.
Sold out with your like product that you originally started with to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a classic thing that people like will say to creators though and stuff. Like, oh, you're doing good commercials now, like you've sold out. It's like, well, like, I mean, do you still want my videos to come out? Because I also have to support myself. Like, what the hell do you want me to do?
Yeah. Bring back Heavenly Sword. That's what the people want.
Honestly, I think that mechanic where you like fire the arrow and then control its flight.
6-axis?
With a 6-axis?
Wow.
Still good stuff, man. It's gimmicky, but like, I think it's fun.
Do we make games like that anymore, though?
Don't do it every time, but like have it as a thing, like it's like a special move you can do.
Video games used to be fun. They used to do fun things like that.
I mean,
now my triggers rumble. That's what I get now.
Not every gimmick, every iteration is good. That's for sure.
I like the adaptive triggers on PlayStation though.
I hate it. Fun. It bugs me. I keep expecting it to not be there, and so then when it is there, I'm like, ugh.
All right, that's all the news for the week. Move on to what we're playing. Tim?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what Matt's playing.
Matt has been playing a little bit of Fortnite, a little bit of Apex. That's it.
What the hell?
All right, Tim, what have you been playing?
What are you doing, Matt?
Wait, do you want me to go? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's Tim been playing?
Yeah.
Oh, Tim's been playing a Monster Hunter on PlayStation 5, hunting the monsters.
Why specifically PS5? Like, how do you know that?
you told us you were on PS5 when
shit
when you joined for the stream, and you've also been doing the odd thing in Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree.
I was doing retreat. I haven't touched Elden Ring in a little bit since I finished it, or actually since I got all the like new weapons and armor and stuff. I haven't touched it since then. But you are right in that I was playing Monster Hunter. Started playing with friends again, playing Rise, and I fell off Rise and didn't even get Sunbreak when I played through it on the Switch. I just, for whatever reason, the grind didn't seem at the time as fun as like it was when I was playing World. I don't really know why, but I just fell off super hard. But playing Rise again, like it's so much more fun, and I think it might literally just be because I'm playing like with friends in a group, and just that on its own makes it feel much more enjoyable. Doing the grind not alone. And the expansion Sunbreak was on sale. I've been playing on PlayStation because it was free with like PS Plus Extra or whatever tier isn't the bottom one. And we saw that Sunbreak was on sale for like $20, and we were like, that's a done deal. I'll make that deal. And I didn't actually ever really look into the content of Sunbreak. It was like the first Monster Hunter expansion that I knew like nothing about. And it's actually got a ton of stuff from Monster Hunter 4, like monsters and things, which was not my first Monster Hunter, but it's probably still my favorite. So now I'm super excited to like get through all the base game content, get into the master rank Sunbreak stuff, so I can fight like the Monster Hunter 4 flagship monsters and stuff again. But on stream, I've been playing a little indie game that is very much in the vein of the like old Paper Mario RPGs. That's called Born of Bread. The concept is literally just that there was like a baker in a kingdom that used like a weird recipe to make a loaf of bread, and it ended up making a person.
What the hell?
And so you play as this like sentient bread person who he names Loaf, and it's very like it's like kid friendly conceptually, but like it does have some like coarse language in it and stuff. Like it's like a PG-13 game, that's what I guess, or like a T rated game, I guess you could say, or maybe E10 plus. And it's an indie game, so it's a little rough around the edges at certain points, but like visually, it's really nice. Conceptually, I really like how they've kind of taken some stuff that like Paper Mario did with the early games, but never really like developed on. And then just they sort of have some other unique ideas too, where they kind of mix in a bit of a like Pokemon style, like rock, paper, scissors type matchups, where like some things are good against other things and weak against other things. But they also have it where like items have types and your characters have types. And if characters use items of the same type as them, those items have greater effects. And then they also have the like badge system from the old Paper Mario games, which they call boons in this game. But it's pretty fun. I really like it. It's also cool with the companions in that instead of just like leveling up your characters once and then they get one new move and their power goes up by one, you can actually like, there's almost not like a tree, but there's a bunch of skills. There's a bunch of tiers that you have for skills for your partners, and then each of those tiers has 3 abilities in it. So you can have one ability of each tier at any given time. So you can kind of mix and match your party members' sort of loadout. And then often each of their different abilities will have like a different element or different effect. So you can kind of strategize for fights that way. If you know that a certain area has a lot of enemies that are weak to like fire moves, then you can give all of your character like all the different attacks in the different tiers that are fire element and stuff like that. So there's that extra level of like customizability for playthroughs and things, which is super cool. And it's not very long, I don't think, but I am taking my time going through it, exploring the levels to try to find secrets and stuff. And that's something that the game really shines at, is the level design is really, really good. Because it's like your perspective is quite low down, and there's stuff that can be hidden in like the foreground, so you have to make sure to like check the foreground of all the environments as well as the background. And then there's the classic RPG thing of like there's areas in the early game that you need a certain like character like partner ability to do, but you can't do it yet because you don't have them yet, so you have to come back later and all that sort of thing. But big vouch. If you like the old Paper Mario games, it's a cool sort of spin on the formula, and big fan.
Did you say it was 2D or 3D?
It's 3D, but your characters are like 2D little characters.
Okay. I'm having a hard time like picturing this game, but I mean, I guess I haven't played a game where like someone was baked into a person or.
I mean, you can just look up images of it. It's called Born of Bread, or
that's it.
As we've been calling it, Breadborn.
Fuck. This is not this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. It's like even more goofy. I thought it was going to be like, for some reason I thought like the person that was born of bread was going to be like super serious or something. I don't know why I thought that, but
no, it's very cartoony. Like you are a little, it's like you'd look at the art and you'd never know that the kid's supposed to be like bread. Like it's just a cartoon, generic like cartoon character design kind of thing, or like simple cartoon character design.
Yeah, you could have convinced me that this is actually like a movie or like a movie game or like a show game for like from like a kid show, like 100%. Yeah,
the designs are really nice. I love the like art style of the characters and all of the like environments is really, really nice.
It does look super nice actually. Like it's like for an indie game too, like it does look like particularly polished.
Mm-hmm. The only real major complaints that I have are that the menu is like kind of obtuse. It's like you pull up a booklet and then you flip between the different pages, which is not a concept that is new. Like it's been done before and it's been done very well. And this one is just very like janky because some pages will have different tabs of the page, and you can also only interact. The menu is like an open book. Like you have like a left side page and a right side page, and you can only interact with the left side. The right side is often like either extra information, or if it's like the page where you see your character, like your partner's on the other page. And there are ways to interact with the menu that aren't even like communicated to you. Like it doesn't say anywhere like press this button to do this, but if you press that button, it does something, and there's nowhere in the menu that tells you it does that. So the menuing is very problematic. It was one of those things where they kind of went more for like a stylistic choice than a functional choice, which is always a bad idea with a menu. But that, and then there have been some minor like visual bugs, and I've definitely found some areas where you weren't supposed to like be able to jump to. You could jump behind like a point where a tree meets like the roof of a house, and then you get stuck there. And
there's no way out. Like you can't jump back or rewind or something.
Yeah, like you jump, like you're going from like a cliff and you jump over a tree, and then you're behind a house and a fence, and then you can't jump back over the tree because you're too low down, and then you're stuck. But it's like you kind of have to be trying to get to those areas.
Okay.
To get stuck kind of thing. Like there's a very clear intended play area. Yeah, it's very much like you can tell it's very inspired by like Paper Mario 1 and like Thousand Year Door to an extent. But then there's another game that's called like Bug Fables or something that I think is also an indie game that's based off of like the old, or inspired by the old Paper Mario games. That's sort of like simple RPG that has lots of like customization potential through badges, like builds through badges and partners and stuff like that. But
this is coming off the heels of you playing that, what was it, the remake or the remaster of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just played
Paper
the
Mario.
Thousand Year Door remake like a month ago. Yeah, so it was funny timing because I've been watching this game for a long time, and then I thought, oh, like it's been Paper Mario. I should go with like the Paper Mario kind of esque game.
Right.
And I thought that it was like relatively new, just came out, but it's like 7 or 8 months old now, and I totally missed its like 1.0 launch. But yeah, big vouch for that if you like those style of RPGs, and yeah, just a lot of Monster Hunter Rise and grinding, the rise and grind.
Your menu complaints reminded me of Fable 3.
Oh God,
holy fuck!
No, that's the worst way to do menus for sure.
Like or lack thereof. Actually, you've replaced the menus with something that is not that, and it's
not a menu, yeah.
And
it's like more interactive, sure, yeah. But it's like people want to get in and out of a menu. You can't do that in that game, and it's like to an extent, like the menus in Fable 1, perfect, godly, the way it should be. Menus in Fable 2 were similar, but then they had the like model of your character like always there on the right side, which like slowed the menu down so much. Like it was so laggy. Menuing in Fable 2 sucks ass. It's super unoptimized. And then Fable 3 is just like, oh, you thought that was bad. Wait till you go to a whole inside of a castle to like change any of your equipment or settings or anything.
And do that in co-op. Hey, can we please go to the armor room? Like, fuck me. Oh.
Yeah. There are ways to do it right, and that was not the way to do it right.
Matt, what have you been playing?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I have not been doing Apex, actually. No Apex. Tim was
Sure, proves me wrong right away. I see how it is.
incorrect. But I have been playing Fortnite. I've reached level 51 or 54 or somewhere in there. Chipping away at that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get all the Fallout stuff. So I'm right like a level away. Like I've got a little bit of the accessories. I'm about to get the power armor and such. So I did all but one of the, I think it's called Rewind or Reboot, whatever, where you go back to the original or at least one of the old maps, the versions of the map. And so I did all the quests there, minus like one of them. And so now I'm going to go, be back on like the sort of regular grind train doing the dailies. Whenever I log in, I don't actually do them daily, but the dailies and the weeklies as well, which is the big bucks, the big XP. So we'll be doing that. And then I'm going to try to get into like the second or the third page of the bonus rewards if I can. It's getting kind of close, so I might have to end up spending some V-Bucks, but just to get all the Fallout stuff, because I don't want to let that stuff go by. But other than that, weirdly, I have been playing a whole bunch of The First Ascendant. I didn't think I would, but it's for anyone who doesn't know, it's a new free-to-play looter shooter game. And I'm just taking this game, right at face value. I have no idea what the fuck we're doing or where we are at all. Like anytime some character talks to me, just skip the dialogue, tell me where the objective is. And I've been doing that, and it's been a lot of fun. Been running around in solo, running around a bit of multiplayer, a bit of co-op. Ryan, you and I tried it the one night. Also tried it with another buddy as well, and just having a good time at it. I reached a pretty difficult boss and ended up wiping 2 or 3 times. I don't know if we had ended up ever finishing it. I queued with randoms, and we always got to like the last 10% of the boss's health, and then the boss put us down, which was kind of a pain in the ass. But no, I'm having a great time with it. It's a grind, but it's just a good grind. I feel like I am leveling up and getting, further. Maybe that'll slow or stop or whatever, because it is a free to play game. And when that's the case, maybe I'll just drop off. But for the time being, the game looks good. The game is performing way better than it was when it first came out. First time I tried it was really, really kind of buggy. Server problems, a lot of frame rate problems and stuff like that. Those seem to be gone. So now I've been doing The First Ascendant. And
I've heard other people having a good time with that game too.
Have you like seen it or like tried it at all?
No, I haven't played it. I've been wondering about it. Do you find? I know it's got sort of a reputation for like microtransactions and stuff, and people saying it's like kind of like heavy-handed with that. Do you find that at all?
Well, with the skins, certainly like it's definitely skin heavy, if you will. Like it's definitely like if you want your character to look different. I don't know. I assume there is a way to do it in the game, but I don't know of one yet. On how to make another thing, because there is one thing for sure. So like in this game, one of the things is like, hey, do you want to go and like make a new character? So and I might be describing this wrong because I'm still pretty early in the game, but basically like you choose a descendant, so it's like one of the characters. But how it works is if you want to play another character, you can play it on the same profile, and you'll actually be the same level and everything. So you kind of like you're kind of leveling up your profile in a way, is how I understand it.
Yep.
But in order to get the other characters now, like once you've chosen your one, you have to craft the other ones, and you have to find the materials, and the materials are kind of like semi hard to get. And there's also guns behind that as well. And there's a timer behind it. So it's like, okay, I've, spent all this time getting this electrical gun, which is the first gun that you get in the schematics, which is the second. First thing you do is you unlock a descendant. Through a bunch of quests, and the next thing is a gun. So I'm on that second sort of building phase. And the second building phase, I went to go build the gun. When I built the Descendant, it was like 8 seconds. When I went to go build this, it was 4 hours real time. And I assume you can probably like pay for that. And this is the first gun I'm doing. So God knows, like if you go after something that's truly epic or truly like hard to get, if you actually do the grind and get it, assuming you can for free, is it going to be like 2 days? Like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And I have heard that discourse as well, Tim, but honestly, I've been treating this game a little bit like Overwatch, where it's just like, I ain't looking at dailies. I like looked at the store a couple of times, and I'm just like, go in, do the mission, and get out. I'm just
play the game for the game and not like the meta of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not super like, oh, what gun and this and that. I'm experimenting with guns. I'm just having a fun time with it. I really like looter shooters, and this game feels like Outriders a little bit. Where I mean, I like Outriders better, but this game feels a little bit like Outriders, like a tiny bit, like the free to play version of it. And so I'm really enjoying it in that way.
Like not too bad for free to play kind of thing.
Yeah, certainly. And like when like so if I hop on PlayStation and everyone's playing like Elden Ring or something or not doing something I want to do, it's perfect. Like I'll just sit there and chat. I could give a crap about what I'm actually doing in the game, and I'm just like, leveling up, and I'm still having fun. Like I'm still enjoying myself. But that's what I did in Outriders for hours. Like I want to have like a couple hours where I just sort of like listen to a podcast, throw on Outriders. I've heard the dialogue enough, and I'll just do some runs and grind some gears. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And the last thing I've been doing, which is really random, is I've gotten like a fair bit into Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1 on my Steam Deck.
Yeah,
which is hilarious. I also like just to see if I could do it. I also got like Ratchet and Clank Going Commando working on there, which is super weird to see it on there.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a ton of fun. I've tried 3 different games. I've tried Ratchet and Clank Going Commando just to see if it worked. I tried Call of Duty Finest Hour, which is an older title, and then I've also tried Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1, which is like the end of that generation's title of Call of Duties, and pretty good. Like I've been really enjoying it. The Steam Deck struggles a little bit. I don't know if it's the emulator or whatever. Like it's more so the sound. The sound kind of starts fucking up, and then sometimes when the sound fucks up, you can notice that the frame rate's dropping a little bit. I've done some fandangling and done some changes, and it's just kind of like I'm playing on like a slightly underpowered PC, and I do mean slightly. So that's fine. Like it's totally playable, no problems in that regard. Nothing's like game breaking. There's been no crashes, nothing like that. Just a few frame drops here and there. I'm fucking emulating on a handheld PC, so like I'm not going to complain. And I've never done this before, and I'm sure someone out there has some sort of fandangle they can figure it out. But no, it's been a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And I know you and I talked about this last week, Tim, about the Steam Deck sticks. I'm starting to get used to them. I'm actually able to aim with them, which is nice. Yeah,
I really like them.
I actually have a theory about this, and I was going to bring this up slightly. Is that the Steam Deck? I wonder if it's not the Steam Deck sticks that I don't like. There are a lot of PC games that when you plug in a controller, it doesn't seem to compensate for the controller well. Like it seems to be like you're just moving a mouse, but you're actually moving an analog stick. And when a game is like that, and I'm sure like people know what I'm talking about, hopefully, like if you play an indie game that was ported from, say, the PC to the console, like PS4, PS5, whatever, it feels that way. Like it doesn't feel as nice or smooth or like cushy or something. Right now I'm playing a Call of Duty game. Call of Duty, even back then, has got that shit on lock. They know how to make a controller feel good. They know how to make hits feel good, shots feel good, aim down sight. They know how to make a gun game. Even back then. And so I think that's helped me. And so like now I'm wondering if it's less the hardware and more the fact that I've been playing shooters that are obviously, because they're on Steam Deck, a PC game, and I haven't like played one that has like good controller tuning, or at least not controller tuning that I like. But I don't know. That's my mini rant, I guess. And that has also been my week.
My week has mostly been Elden Ring DLC.
Have you finished
my way through that? No, I'm pretty close though. I think just a handful of bosses. Maybe not even. Maybe just like 2 even. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My problem with Elden Ring and all the FromSoft games, I don't know where to go. I don't know where I'm going. Like if you asked me to like finish the game right now, I would not know where to go.
I think that I mean we can talk about this later, like off the podcast. There's no spoilers and stuff, but I think that a game like Elden Ring is like the antithesis for your playstyle, because you like a very linear handheldy experience, and it's the beauty of Elden Ring is in the discovery.
Aaron has literally dragged me through every FromSoft game I've completed.
I feel like if you, I don't know, maybe I'm completely off the mark, but I feel like if you didn't have that, like you don't explore because you don't have to. You have Aaron to show you everything. But if you did it yourself and like we're going off and finding stuff, and you were like, oh, this is so cool. Like I was walking on this cliff and then there was suddenly a cave and there was no indication that there was going to be a cave there.
Yeah.
But then there just was. And then you go inside and it's a huge goddamn cave. And that was like such a cool like thing to find. I feel like you would enjoy it more, but since you know you don't have to do that, you don't. And so
Yeah,
you don't
I think I could get through it because I see other people online who have never played a From Software game play Elden Ring and get through it.
Yep.
I am like using Aaron as a crutch and like relying on him to get me through it. But I remember playing like Dark Souls or Bloodborne with him. He would literally take me item to item as we go through the level. He would like stop and stand somewhere, and I'd like turn the corner, and he'd be standing right where the item is. He can't see it because, like, you know, when you're the co-op player, you don't see the items. But he knew where they were and would just wait for them. Yeah, so that was funny. I guess when I'm playing with other people, I don't pay as much attention to the game. And if I was playing alone, I think I would pay attention and kind of follow the story and my path and explore, like you said, a little more.
You'd be more immersed for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easier to enjoy the ride when you are paying attention to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which sounds obvious, but like, yeah.
I'm currently searching down Shadow Tree fragments using a guide because I wouldn't be able to find them otherwise. Like one I missed in Ballarat City and would never have found it on my own.
Is that the one through the doorway behind the big pile of rubble?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly where it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just a great piece of DLC.
Very fun.
Marty was saying that like people are calling it like the greatest DLC ever, but he thinks the Bloodborne one was better. And I'm just like I'm struggling.
Bloodborne was really good.
Yeah, I'm struggling with it.
It was really good. I didn't struggle with Bloodborne. Like I definitely find that Shadow Tree or Shadow of the Erd Tree definitely took the most attempts. Like bosses didn't take me as many attempts in any other FromSoft game as this does. And to an extent, it's a little bit like beginner's trappy. Like they'll get down to like, 25% health and then they'll whip out a move that's like a nuke and you have no idea how to dodge it because you haven't seen it yet kind of situation.
Yeah.
And you kind of need that first dry run to, okay, I died there, but now for next time I know that I have to run, super far away. I just didn't know this time because I couldn't have.
Right.
So that always feels a bit bad and like unfair, but like to fight them with all the knowledge is more fun for sure.
Yeah. Now I'm a wizard class, so I'm not wearing like heavy armor or I'm not using a shield or anything like that. So to me, I can literally make 2 mistakes with the boss, or else I'm dead.
Yep.
Oh God.
That's what I'm saying. Some people will be like, "Oh, actually, you're not playing the game right because you're not learning how to dodge the bosses. You're not learning their moveset for real, and blah 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 blah." So really, this DLC in particular, like there were always FromSoft like elitists.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is with Shadow of the Erd Tree specifically.
Well, because it's harder, right?
It's just like there was already tons of gatekeeping around Elden Ring with like the whole, like the mimic tier and shit, like summons and shit like that.
Oh yeah, that's
right. But for whatever reason, this particular DLC is like no other. Like they're just so mad about people playing the game a different way than them and like trying to delegitimize other people's experiences. And it's like life becomes a whole lot easier when you realize that, Cubs fan 98 on Twitter approval doesn't matter in your life.
I hope that's not like an actual person that's like has done nothing wrong. Like Cubs fan 98.
Might be. It's a pretty generic username actually. Yeah, sorry Cubs fan 98. You're probably a cool person. I'm sorry, but
it's the beauty of Elden Ring though, or all the From Software games, is you can play it as hard as you want it to be. You don't have to use the mimic tier. No one is forcing you to use that mimic tier.
It's this like fake opinion where people are like, oh, but they're like robbing themselves of an experience that's so much more satisfying if they do it solo and they do it without heavy armor and they do it without a shield and they do it without dodging and they do it without being able to see the screen and they do it with their hands tied behind their back. Like we could just keep moving these goalposts. Like this particular audience for the game is just like, if you didn't play it the way I played it, it's not valid. And it's like, your way isn't the only way. And just because, the older FromSoft games were not as like involved as Elden Ring. Like there were no mimic tears, there were no spirit ashes in Bloodborne, and there wasn't any, all this in Dark Souls. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's like inherently better. And there's also this like mentality that like when a game did something one way, it was purposeful and it wasn't just like a convenience, like the convenient way that it went for the devs when they were making the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, not to go on a huge like tangent about it, but
no, but yeah, you are right. It does seem like it's been happening quite a bit. So
I did look up Cubs fan 98 as well.
Oh no.
And Cubs fan 98, their last tweet or X post, whatever, is in 2012, and it says,
"Oh God,
I got 3,990 points while escaping from demon monkeys in Temple Run. Beat that!" And then there's a link to Temple Run game.
I love that Temple Run's still around too. So you totally could. 2012, man. Well done, Cubs fan 98.
Joined in 2012 as well, so just stuck in here for just a few days, and then yeet.
They joined Twitter just to brag about their Temple Run game, and that was it.
I do like this tweet, however. Hang on, Ryan. I like this tweet.
I'm trying to end it. Damn it.
Hang on, Ryan.
They should make an award for anyone. They should make an award for anyone who uses a whole entire stick of chapstick without losing it.
I've done that.
It's like the same thing as saying like an award for people that use an entire pencil before losing it. Like sharpen a pencil all the way down, or like a pen.
Here's what you do with a chapstick, though. You just keep it in your jacket. So if it's like wintertime, obviously you're using some chapstick. Keep it in your jacket. You got a pocket in your and then in the inside, you just pull it out, use it, you put it back.
Yeah, but I buy cheap clothes, so there's always going to be a rip in that pocket eventually, and it's going to fall out. And then
that's your own.
I lost my chapstick. Sometimes lost the chapstick in the lining of the coat, where it will rot forever.
Alrighty, thanks for listening, people. Tim, where can they find you streaming your fun games?
Fun games at twitch.tv/thesidetrack, where I am playing Born of Bread, and then I think it's we're sort of doing this pattern where I do like a really long game and then a short game and then a really long game and a short game and a really long game. So we'll finish this up, and then there will be a longer game that I am well overdue playing. That I think a lot of people are going to be like, "How the hell haven't you played this yet?" But
you haven't listened to Dark Side of the Moon?
I have. It's good.
Oh, okay. You can see us playing Halo 3.
Hell yeah.
Aaron mentioned that we're doing this in a weird order. Because
We
did
really
ODST,
are, yeah.
And then we did Halo 1.
But then we realized we did 1, then we realized that you can only do Halo 1 2-player.
Yeah, so we
and
did
then
Halo
we skipped
3.
2. I don't know why, because 2 is really good, but then we went straight to 3 because you hadn't beaten 3.
Oh, Halo 2 is for sure only 2.
Yeah.
Because we checked after Halo 1 failed.
Right.
But so you guys could go finish Halo 2, right? Or did we even start 2?
Do all of 2. We didn't start 2.
We didn't start 2. We haven't finished 1.
If I'm ever not there, you guys can go do Halo 2 if you want.
Super
Halo 1.
but then next we should do Halo 5 and then do Reach.
What about 4?
And then do 4.
Wait, what? Do 5 Reach and then 4?
Yeah. Just
Aaron
to keep up
was
this
right.
pattern. Just to keep up the pattern of going all over the place.
Yeah.
So no one knows what's going on.
Not even us.
Where the hell are we? Then we'll watch the Paramount Plus show.
I'm not watching that. I'm good.
I'm not supporting that.
Master Cheeks?
Not supporting that at all.
Yeah, I don't need to see Master Cheeks.
I do need to see it, but I'm not going to do that.
So you're just gonna look up that scene on TikTok?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna pirate it.
Wait, just the Master Cheeks scene?
Just the cheeks, yeah.
Just the zoom, and then you get like you zoom it in real, so it's like really blurry, and you just print it out, put it on your wall in the background of your stream. So
it's gonna be framed, but it's gonna be really weirdly high resolution.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! Oh no!
You do have a blank space on your wall right there above the cat tree. Yep. Yeah, right there.
So you can put Master Cheeks in high resolution. Higher
Behind
resolution than ever before.
Higher resolution than the space show.
You can see us running around as Master Cheeks, Day One Patch, or twitch.tv/Day One Patch Media, Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys next time. This is Master Cheeks signing off.
No.
Thanks for listening.
It's
100% retention, listeners.
Peace.